The fire that engulfed the Notre-Dame Cathedral in Paris on April 15, 2019, captured global attention, not just because of the destruction of one of the most iconic landmarks in the world, but also because of the various conspiracy theories that quickly emerged around the event. The fire was a tragic and shocking moment for both France and the world, but like many high-profile incidents, it became the subject of speculation, rumors, and conspiracy narratives. Here's an overview of the fire, its causes, and the conspiracy theories that arose. The fire began in the late afternoon on April 15, 2019, in the attic of the cathedral, near the roof where restoration work was being carried out. The fire quickly spread to the wooden beams supporting the roof and the iconic spire. Firefighters battled the blaze for several hours, and although much of the structure was severely damaged, including the collapse of the spire, the cathedral's main structure and its precious relics, including the crown of thorns, were largely spared. The official investigation concluded that the fire was most likely accidental, with the most probable cause being linked to the restoration work, such as an electrical fault or a potential mistake during the renovation process. No foul play was suspected, and the fire was not seen as an act of terrorism. However, despite the official conclusions, several conspiracy theories emerged almost immediately after the event. Some conspiracy theorists initially speculated that the fire might have been deliberately set as an act of terrorism or a hate crime. Given the location of Notre-Dame in Paris, a city that has been targeted in the past by terrorists, such as the 2015 Paris attacks, some believe that the fire could be part of a larger extremist agenda to attack France's cultural and religious symbols. However, investigators found no evidence to support this theory, and there was no claim of responsibility from any terrorist group. French officials later stated that the fire was not linked to terrorism, and the focus remained on the accidental causes, likely involving the restoration work. Another theory that emerged was that the fire was a targeted attack on Christianity. Some people pointed to the symbolism of Notre-Dame Cathedral, a religious and cultural icon for Christians around the world, and suggested that the fire was the result of religious extremism or a symbolic gesture against Christian heritage. This theory was fueled in part by social media posts and statements from certain groups, but again, no concrete evidence supported the claim of religiously motivated arson. The French authorities made it clear that there was no indication that the fire was anything other than accidental. Another theory that gained traction was that the fire had been caused by negligence during the restoration work, and that the French government or the restoration contractors were trying to cover up their mistakes. According to this theory, the authorities were downplaying the possibility of human error or mishandling, and even deliberately pushing the narrative of an accident to avoid blame or legal consequences. Some proponents of this theory pointed to the speed with which the French government and the media moved to reassure the public that the fire was accidental. Others speculated that key details regarding the progress of the restoration or the actual cause of the fire were being withheld to prevent a scandal. In some more fringe circles, the fire at Notre Dame was linked to Freemasonry and the idea of hidden forces controlling world events. According to this theory, Notre Dame's centrality in European religious and historical symbolism made it a target for secret societies or powerful elites who wished to send a message. The idea that Freemasons or other shadowy organizations might be behind the fire is not supported by any credible evidence, but has nonetheless been circulated by conspiracy theorists who see symbolism in the event. Some religious conspiracy theorists saw the fire as a symbol of apocalyptic events or as a sign of divine wrath, linking the fire to prophecies about the end of the world. Given the prominence of Notre Dame as a sacred site, some speculated that its burning could signify a larger spiritual or existential crisis. These types of theories often blend religious beliefs with apocalyptic narratives and gain traction in times of social or political unrest. Another angle that has been suggested is that the fire was actually part of a larger plan to demolish parts of the cathedral for renovation or redevelopment. Some believe that the building's deteriorating state, combined with the high costs of restoring it, created an incentive for powerful forces to intentionally destroy parts of the structure so they could carry out a complete overhaul or modernization. These theories often point to the convenience of the fire happening when major restoration work was already underway. The rapid spread of conspiracy theories around events like the Notre Dame fire is often fueled by several factors. Mistrust of authorities. When an event is shrouded in uncertainty or occurs without clear explanations, people may be more inclined to distrust the official narrative, leading to the development of alternative theories. Social media amplification. Platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube allow information to spread quickly, including unverified or speculative content. As images of the fire and its aftermath were shared worldwide, so were rumors and conspiracy theories. Symbolism. Notre Dame is not just a building, it is a powerful symbol of French identity, Catholicism, and European heritage. Events that involve significant cultural or religious symbols tend to provoke strong emotional responses, which can fuel conspiracy theories. The uncertainty of large-scale events. Major tragedies often leave gaps in the information available to the public in the immediate aftermath. In the case of the Notre-Dame fire, much of the specific cause was unclear for several weeks, which contributed to speculation. Cultural or political climate. In times of political unrest or global insecurity, people may search for deeper, often more sinister explanations for traumatic events. The fire at Notre Dame occurred in the midst of heightened political tension in France and Europe, adding a layer of suspicion to the narrative. While the official investigation concluded that the fire was likely accidental and linked to the restoration work, the widespread media attention and the symbolic importance of the Notre Dame Cathedral meant that conspiracy theories about the fire would emerge quickly. While it's important to question and investigate major events, especially when large amounts of damage or loss of life occur, the theories surrounding Notre Dame remain speculative and without solid evidence. The restoration of Notre Dame Cathedral began in the wake of the devastating fire on April 15, 2019, which destroyed much of its iconic roof and spire. In the immediate aftermath, the French government, led by President Emmanuel Macron, vowed to restore the cathedral to its former glory. Emergency teams were quickly deployed to stabilize the structure, prevent further damage, and secure invaluable artworks and relics. The project, which would involve architects, artisans, and craftsmen, was set into motion with the goal of preserving Notre Dame's historical integrity while ensuring its future durability. Despite the challenges, including the global pandemic that delayed progress, the restoration effort became a symbol of resilience and determination, beginning with careful assessments and immediate protective measures to safeguard the cathedral's lasting legacy. The Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris is set to reopen to visitors beginning December 8, 2024, more than 5 years after an accidental fire destroyed the roof's iconic 12th century spires and interior. Let's remember all the events took place since devastating fire. April 15, 2019, 6:50 p.m. local time. A fire is detected in the attic of the cathedral, likely originating from an electrical fault or an issue with the renovation works underway. 7:50 p.m., the fire spreads to the roof and causes the collapse of the spire, flesh. 10 p.m., firefighters are battling the flames and the entire roof structure is destroyed. 11 p.m., the fire is contained, but significant structural damage is done, particularly to the roof, spire, and some of the wooden beams that had been in place for over 800 years. April 16, 2019. President Macron's speech. French President Emmanuel Macron vows to rebuild the cathedral, setting a goal of finishing the restoration within 5 years, by 2024. Assessment begins. Initial damage assessment is conducted, revealing damage to the wooden structure, the spire, and the stained glass windows, although much of the interior and main facade are spared. May 2019. Initial stabilization. Temporary wooden structures are erected to stabilize the cathedral and prevent further collapse. The vaults and walls are supported with scaffolding. Investigations. The French government launches an investigation into the cause of the fire. It is later confirmed that the fire likely started in the attic area near electrical systems or the renovation works. June 2019. Starting the restoration. Cleansing and cataloging. Thousands of items from the cathedral, including artwork, sculptures, stained glass, and religious relics, are carefully cataloged and moved to storage for safekeeping. Restoration teams assemble. Teams of architects, historians, craftsmen, and artisans are brought together to plan the restoration, focusing on maintaining historical accuracy while using modern techniques. July 2019, first major tasks. Deconstruction of damaged roof. Work begins to remove the debris from the fire, including the remains of the roof and collapsed spire. Cleaning the facade. Efforts to clean the cathedral's exterior begin, including the removal of soot and debris from the stonework. August 2019, finalizing plans. Restoration blueprint. Detailed blueprints are drawn up, which include restoring the spire to its original design, but also modernizing the interior and ensuring structural integrity. Spire reconstruction plan. The French government decides to restore the spire to its pre-fire appearance using historical blueprints created by architect Eugène Viollet-le-Duc in the 19th century. 2020. COVID-19. Impact. The restoration project faces delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic, with some workers sent home and safety protocols slowing the work. Further stabilization. Teams continue reinforcing the structure, including the buttresses and interior of the cathedral to prevent further deterioration. Fireproofing. Work begins on installing fireproofing measures to prevent future fires, including creating a protective roof structure over the cathedral. 2021, spire reconstruction. In the spring, work on rebuilding the spire begins in earnest. French President Macron confirms the aim to have the spire reconstructed by 2024 for the Olympic Games in Paris. Rebuilding the roof. Workers begin to reconstruct the roof's frame, which had originally been made of 13,000 oak trees. The timber needed to be sourced from specific forests to ensure historical accuracy. Restoration of stained glass. The 13th century stained glass windows are carefully examined, restored, and in some cases, replaced with replicas to preserve the originals. 2022, spire rebuilding progresses. The framework of the spire is rebuilt, and the copper covering is placed. The rooster weather vane, which had fallen during the fire, is restored. Vault reconstruction. Work continues on restoring the vaulted ceiling that had been damaged by the fire. Specialized craftsmen work to repair or replace sections of the ceiling. Interior repairs. Restoration of interior elements such as the organ, altarpieces, and sculptures begins. 2023. Restoring the sculptures and gargoyles. Many of the stone sculptures, including gargoyles and statues on the facade, are cleaned and repaired, restoring their original features. Progress on the roof and spire. The spire is now nearly complete, with the rooster weather vane successfully reattached at the top. The copper covering on the spire reflects its original appearance. Interior decoration and artworks. The art conservation team begins reinstalling or restoring interior artwork, including murals, statues, and the altarpieces. Preliminary reopening. Some sections of the cathedral are open to the public for tours, though the full cathedral is not yet open. 2024. Rebuilding the nave. Final touches are put on the nave and other significant parts of the interior, including final layers of paint and restoration of smaller features. Restoration of the bells. The cathedral's bells, which were not damaged in the fire, are inspected, cleaned, and restored. The bell tower is also reinforced. Preparation for full reopening. December 8, 2024, the cathedral is expected to reopen for public visits, with an official reopening event likely in 2025 or 2026. The restoration will include a blend of modern techniques and historical authenticity, ensuring that Notre-Dame retains its iconic status while incorporating necessary modern amenities. Ongoing maintenance. Restoration work will likely continue for several more years, focusing on long-term preservation, including maintaining the wood, stonework, and stained glass windows. This timeline shows that the restoration is not just about rebuilding the cathedral, but also about ensuring that it can endure for future generations, preserving both its artistic and historical legacy. Alright, that's all for today's video. I hope you found it interesting and learned something new. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel grow.